I got fired from my first job because I had too many opinions, and I'm sure so many women can probably relate to that. Women who are confident in their message are not afraid to be specific.
You said not talking about ChatGPT, but I was just going to ask you.
Your sales page should be a horror movie for your non-ideal clients. So we're not just going to use positive traits. We would never create a brand voice that's just outgoing, bubbly, empathetic, because that would actually be quite boring.
Welcome to Confidence Secrets, the podcast where presence meets power. I'm your host, Kate. I'm a self-presentation coach who helps ambitious women refine the way they show up on stage, on camera, and everywhere in the world. Today's guest is someone who turns ordinary business into unforgettable brands through the power of words. Lucy Bedewi is a brand messaging strategist and copywriter behind My Right Hand Woman, correct? She is known for her ability to connect the dots quickly and craft unique messaging angles that transforms normal business into unicorn brands. Lucy, welcome to the show. I would love for you to introduce yourself in your own words. Take us back to how you started your business and what drew you to the power of words.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I'm really excited to be here. I started my business back in 2020. I was just out of college, and I always like to start with I got fired from my first job because I had too many opinions, and I'm sure so many women can probably relate to that, of just being in a workplace where they feel like they are not able to ascend to the person they want to be. So from there, I decided to start my business literally from my couch, and I had been writing my entire life. I was a food writer in college. I got published for a horror story that I wrote when I was 8 years old, so I knew it was the right path. And then from there, I transitioned from being a freelance copywriter into running a copywriting business and also being a messaging strategist, wanting to expand that into helping women communicate through writing in a way that matches the presence that they have in person.
Love this story, and I cannot wait to dive deeper in your tips and tricks you have for us. But before we dive in, I would love to know your personality a little bit more. So I have a little quick fire round for you. Just go with your gut, no overthinking. Ready?
Let's do it.
Coffee, tea, or matcha?
Coffee, for sure.
Writing at 5 a.m. or midnight?
Midnight.
Clickbait that converts or classic copywriting?
Classic copywriting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Viral tweet or perfect sales page?
Perfect sales page.
To have a stage keynote for 500 people or small intimate workshop?
Keynote.
Have million followers or $1 million lunch?
$1 million launch.
Oprah interview or New York Times feature?
Oprah interview.
And the last one, be the power behind the scenes or center of attention?
Center of attention.
Loved it for you.
I love that you start with that.
Now we know a little bit more about you, and I love that your midnight clarity personality, same about me. I always feel more creative at night.
Oh, definitely. I don't think I would be able to actually put English on the page at 5 a.m.
Same. Considering English is not my second and third language, so sometimes my English is not Englishing. It's like blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh, no, it's perfect. I don't even think I could speak 3 languages. That would be so hard.
So you already mentioned that you achieved so much at your young age. You started right after the college. And I'm curious, what does confidence mean to you right now, today? Has the definition evolved as you built your business and while you worked with different brands?
To me, confidence really is how you show up and how comfortable you are showing up as you. And I think we have all of these people online that are like, fake it till you make it, like banish imposter syndrome. And I don't necessarily believe in that. I think it's okay to admit that you're scared or you're nervous or you're going on stage for the first time and you're really uncomfortable, or someone's writing your sales page and they're writing a headline that just makes you feel like, wow, I'm going to actually say that and put that out into the world. I think confidence is when you realize, regardless of what your feelings are, you're going to show up and you're going to command the room the best way you can in that moment. And that goes for in person with speaking, but also on the page, because really copy and messaging is just a reflection of who you are, but when you're not actually in person with someone and they're interacting with you on a website or on a sales page.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. And you worked with many different women and businesses, and I imagine that you worked with different women in terms of their patterns, how they behave, how they communicate. Have you noticed any differences between women who are confident, how they sound in their messaging, versus those who have not fully owned their voice yet?
Women who are confident in their message are not afraid to be specific. When a woman knows who she wants to talk to and what she wants to put into the world, there is something about the way she speaks where she tells me, she's like, this is who I serve, this is not who I serve. And it's like, cool. Like that's very clear and we can get that on the page. I can always tell that confidence is lacking when someone comes up to me and starts using general phrases like I help, I empower, I do this. And it's not to say that this is bad or this is someone I'm judging someone for, but it's just a clue for me that we need to take a couple steps back and figure out what is your actual point of view that you want to put out into the world.
Wow, that's a really actionable tip for me and for our audience. I agree. Sometimes you check something, it's like word salad, like I cannot understand what's going on, but still it's already like a paragraph. And it's unclear. So probably it tells us that a person behind this brand is not really confident in what she or he is doing, right?
Yeah, I love that you said a paragraph because I think whenever we're not sure of what we're saying, we tend to over-explain. I think this could be a really good metaphor, but maybe you have like a contentious like relationship in your life and you're trying to be heard in that relationship. So, you're saying like 100 things and you're trying to get this person to understand you. But if you were confident in what you were trying to say, you would just say one sentence and then just let it stand. So I think if you're new to messaging, if you're new to copywriting, that can be a really good parallel because you can look at your website and be like, are you trying to over-explain to get people to get it? Or are you so comfortable in what you do that you just say it, you let them read it, and then you let them take the next move?
You can tell us more tips. How does messaging, whether on the website or social media or emails, shape the way people perceive our authority or presence before they actually meet us? Because in my work, what I do, I say that that first impressions are visual, not verbal, because you first show up on stage, on camera, and then you only start speaking. But in your case, people might not even see you. People can see your words. So how those words shape the way people see you? That's very interesting.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I think so much of marketing is visual, and I would never try and argue the other way. That's why I have a designer on my team because I can't design, but someone has to. So I think when it comes to your messaging, it's realizing that it's playing with your visual components. You should still have video. You should still have places for people to see your face or your brand photos or a beautifully designed website. But I like to equate messaging to, we all have seen that person that just draws us in. Maybe they're wearing a really good outfit, whatever. But it's like when we go to talk to them, they might be really dumb or they might be really annoying or they might try and sell you something in like this horrible way. And you're like, please get away from me. And that is your words. It's your words have the chance to take that visual first impression and say, we're going to actually go deeper. You're going to make a transaction with me, or it completely negates all of this work that you're putting into the visual brand.
And I checked your website briefly, and I noticed that you have a really interesting tone of voice on your website that completely is aligned with your personality, because I see your pictures. I checked your article, I guess on Canvas Rebel or on some internet magazine, and I saw your photos. Then I checked your website, and now I'm talking to you, and I completely see that your tone of voice of your words on your website is aligned with your personality. How do you do this, or how do you help your clients find this? Because I see from my side that you're a very friendly, very approachable, very outgoing person, and it's totally like you can read it everywhere. So for someone who wants to convey, for example, more power or authority, what their tone of voice should be?
I love that you said power and authority. I think that's something that people have a really hard time conveying power and authority, but still being themselves. I think a lot of us, we have traits that are not necessarily powerful. We're just kind of humans going through our life. So if we just write how we speak, then yeah, we'll be ourselves, but will we be activating? Will we be the authority? And that's the question we want to ask ourselves. But then if you try and be the authority by becoming this really professional version of yourself, then you've lost all your fun. So when we're creating a brand voice, it's not an accident. It's not us just, being like, well, let's see how the site sounds. It's a very intentionally curated process, the same way a process would go if you were creating your logo. We look at who you're looking to serve, the strategy of your business, where you're positioned. And then through that, we essentially create this cocktail where we try and create a three-dimensional brand voice where it has the elements of being a human. So we're not just going to use positive traits. We would never create a brand voice that's just outgoing, bubbly, empathetic, because that would actually be quite boring. But we also don't want it to contain too many negative traits that people are not activated by it. So things like insecure, we definitely want to get that out of the brand voice. And then we want to create some, what I like to call, little sparkly things in that brand voice. So maybe you're empathetic, maybe you're kind, but maybe you're also a little bit snarky. And it's when we can put those kind of threads in there, that's what makes a brand voice really activating and magnetic.
Loved it. Share some common messaging mistakes that you noticed that really weakens someone's online presence and credibility. Even sometimes people don't realize it, but still doing it.
It's following the crowd for sure. The amount of people using frameworks, I'm not going to get into ChatGPT because that's the whole thing, but anytime you're using a tool, a framework, a prompt, a template that's making you sound like somebody else or using this recycled hook or this recycled messaging, people will just assume that you maybe hired a coach and like didn't innovate for yourself. And coaches are amazing. And I would never say don't hire a coach, but you need to make sure you're hiring people who are bringing you closer into your unique positioning, not forcing some sort of this is how you do things on you. Because when you lose that ability to innovate and differentiate and go hard in your messaging on those things that make you special, then you're losing that magnetism where people are going to immediately see your side of the web, whether that's your web page, your sales page, your social platforms, and go, wow, this is really refreshing. This is really different. This is the person I definitely want to work with.
You said not talking about ChatGPT, but I was just going to ask you, what's your take on this and how, or you don't suggest creators use it in their messaging, or you have any tips how we can still use AI in our favor, but not sound very robotic and standard as everyone else?
ChatGPT is a very hot topic. I think what I like to do when I talk about it is not necessarily say to use it or don't use it, but just explain what's actually happening with AI. So when you're typing something into ChatGPT, it's really tempting to think it's giving you good copy because it's spitting out what I like to say are pretty words. They sound pretty good. They make sense. Like, yeah, let's get that on the sales page. But ChatGPT can only mirror back the inputs you're giving it. And so many business owners are not clear on what it's actually going to take for their people to move. So they're putting general feedback into ChatGPT that's unclear, that's not based in a unique creative angle or unique point of view. They're getting back these pretty sounding sentences that aren't actually based in anything. So they're so incredibly fluffy. And then they're putting that on the website and they're wondering why their brand is so watered down. So this isn't to say don't use ChatGPT or use it. It's just to realize ChatGPT is not actually writing copy. It's just mirroring back language and showing you a different way to write what you already know. You need a third party to really come in and be like, no, this is the angle we're going to take. This is your brand messaging. And then from there, you can take that specificity, the clarity, and start to generate maybe captions or emails or things where you might need some help.
Totally agree. And this is a perfect bridge to my next question. Life is changing, ChatGPT is there, AI tools. What has helped you to stay grounded in your own voice and your own messaging through all those transitions and all new things that we have? Because I imagine that there could be some pressure to change who you are as you scale, as you grow, as new tools appear, and you kind of sometimes feel forced to use everything.
For sure. I think especially from a productivity standpoint, It's like use AI, like just recycle things. And I tend to err on the side of I would rather people look at the inside of my business and tell me I'm leaving money on the table than have someone look inside my business and tell me like I've lost my soul. So I do things kind of inefficiently sometimes. I write a weekly newsletter where I'm just sitting down with a candle and being like, what story do I want to tell this week? And it's not very value packed and it's not marketing speak and it's not that it's storytelling and it's just connecting with my people, whatever that looks like. And I think I've always been someone who I love what I do and I love being able to elevate women to the next level. And I'm a pretty messy person, so it would be weird if I was very polished. I think so much of messaging is you're trying to convey that you're this business owner who has it all together, but it's what if you sold by just being you and showing up with what you're really good at and saying, hey, like, I see you and I can get you here. And this is why I think I can get you there. And I'm going to obviously say it in a way that's confident, but I'm going to also say it in a way that feels like I'm your friend and not just some enterprise that has tons of tools and I'm taking you through my funnel and all of those things that we hear.
And for everyone who is listening to us, what is your best advice who wants to develop their magnetic, confident, authentic messaging that converts?
I would say get really clear on who you are. Get clear on your point of view. Often I'll tell my clients, what are you dismantling? That's a question I love asking people because it taps into a bit of spite or anger or rage or one of those emotions that we don't really move towards. We always talk about what we're building. I want women to be confident, or I want to help women feel healthy, or whatever it is. But then when I ask them that question, they're just like, I hate the fact that so many really incredible, confident women are stepping on stage and then immediately watering themselves down. And I'm like, amazing. Like, we can go from there. When we can look at the thing that makes you stay up at night and be like, this is not what you want, then we can put that into messaging that just really connects with those people who are like, yeah, this person sees me.
How to measure that level of, how do I word it correctly? So when you say that, there is a chunk of people who will not agree with you, right? So how to measure this level? Okay, till that point, I'm okay to go, but I'm not crossing this line, not to spark a lot of controversy. Or sometimes it's good to spark some controversy and some debates under your posts. How do you feel it, this line?
Yeah, I think one thing I tell my clients is your sales page should be a horror movie for your non-ideal clients. And I mean that. I think if someone's not right for you, they should look at your website, they should look at your sales page and be like, this is not the person for me. Because it's really hard if everybody likes you, nobody can love you. I think when it comes to the point of where is the line, well, it depends on your business. I think the line is where your ideal client starts getting turned off by your business. I don't care what someone's grandma is saying to me in the comments or some random user, and there's always going to be that hate. But if my ideal clients, also known as successful women who want to potentially hire me for messaging support, start saying that my messaging gets too negative or too aggressive, then obviously that's a problem that needs to change. It can't just be tunnel vision. This is what I want to say, so I'm going to say it. It's like, no, we need that lens of empathy to make sure that our messaging is actually speaking to the people we want to speak to.
So is there anything else we did not talk about, but you want women know about in terms of copyright, messaging, writing the perfect page or email?
I think the biggest thing I would just say is treat your messaging like an extension of who they're going to see when they're in person with you. You know, you can only get to so many people when you're a speaker or you're at an in-person event. I mean, we would love to like give everyone a hug, but if there's 500 people at an event, like good luck. And you want people when they go to your links, just make sure it's continuing the conversation. Keep your side of the internet as consistent as possible so you never get into a situation where someone hears you speak, they love you, and then they go to your website and they're like, oh, this is not it. So you want to make sure that everything is playing together, working together. So when they DM you wanting to buy your high ticket program or whatever, it's the easiest sale you've ever made.
Loved it. Thanks a lot.
Of course.
Was such an insightful conversation and tips. And for those who want to keep learning from you and dive deeper into what you're doing, what's the best place to find you, follow your work, connect with you? And if you have anything exciting coming up, we are also would love to hear about it.
Absolutely. I am always on Instagram. That's probably where you'll find me the most. My Instagram is my right hand woman, right spelled like writing. And if you listen to this conversation and you want to have a deeper conversation about working together, definitely go to my website, myrighthandwoman.com. Head to my contact page. There's a form there. It's pretty quick. That just lets me know that you're seriously considering working together. And then I can also put this in the show notes, but I have a quiz called What's Your Messaging Superpower? And it will give you a full essentially like diagnosis of what's going well, what's not going well, and how to fix it. It's one of my favorite things. People say the questions are really superficial, and then it's like I'm actually in their house when they get the answer. They're like, how did you do that? So that's a fun one if you want to just go a little bit deeper into this. But whatever you decide to do, I would just say like, the biggest takeaway I have for this conversation is start thinking about your messaging. Some people have really strong messaging strategy and some people are just kind of winging it every day. But if you really look at what your words are doing for you in your business, you might realize that they're not pushing you forward. And if you just focused on your messaging, then you would amplify all the other parts of your personal brand.
Thanks a lot. I'm definitely interested in this quiz myself, and I will leave all the links below, so make sure you follow Lucy and you check her website and quiz. So thanks everyone for listening, and yeah, remember that your voice matters. So don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more powerful conversations. I will see you in the next episode of Confidence Secrets.